Welcome to the Way of Things. We're here in this beautiful cactus garden with our friend Lorraine, and she's been gardening here for quite some time. And so, Lorraine, why don't you tell us something about your gardening and how you got started?
Our gardening was just from a hobby. We have always liked cactus, and we lived in Victorville for a number of years. We transferred to Barstow, and we started back in with the cactus. And one thing led to the other, and eventually we had a little problem here, and we ran out of room. We had our little hobby got real big, and
So you did this as a business.
so we started a business. It was going to be something small to retire with. Well, the something small ended up for 15 years, and amongst that 15 years, the first 10 years it doubled in size every year. So pardon me, but we worked a long time and many hours. There was 18 hours a day all summer that I put in my time. My husband had another job, so he worked out here when he could, and he had his full-time job. And it was exciting. We met people from all over the world. We often wonder and hear a little expression like, where the H is Barstow. Well, that's what we wondered too, because we never advertised. And people heard about us through friends and such like that.
And of course, this was long before the internet.
Oh yes, there was.
What time frame was this? What time? What years about?
From the 60s.
In the 60s.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of this garden dates back from the 60s.
Oh yes, we started here from scratch as far as the property was concerned. We asked them to. We had a big hill here, and we asked them to leave it in, which they didn't. When they came in and graded for the house, they just took everything and made it level.
Okay, so you're saying all this
So
was graded flat.
This was flat.
There was nothing here.
That's right.
There was
Everything
nothing here.
gone.
So all this has come up since the 60s sometime.
And you could have heard me scream for years. And then we decided for once we would plant it. This was going to be here, and that was going to be there, and everything else. We had a great big diagram and all that. Oh boy, we were going to be real ritzy.
So there was a plan to begin with.
There was a plan to begin with, the first one ever.
Yeah.
Well, we no sooner got it all sort of planted as far as we could go and that, and we had a big flash flood, and this little hill over here, we came with two waterfalls from the water on the street, curved right here at the corner and came right through the yard here into the house and on down the street. So that changed a lot of seeds and stuff like that, so we had no idea what was coming up here and yon.
Now, Lorraine, how deep
years.
was the water coming across, do you think?
Well, deep enough to get it. The lowest spot in this whole piece of property is right here in the walkway
Oh.
into the house. We found that out later. So you see,
So the house was flooded.
the house got a lot of water for a while. That was interesting.
So it was quite a deluge.
Oh yes. And we had trees and plants coming up over a period of time. You couldn't pull anything out. You think is it a weed or is it something else?
Yeah.
So we had a lot of fun for a long time, and then we decided, it doesn't make any difference. Just plant wherever you want to plant something, and that's what we did. And it's always been love of my life, I guess.
Now, Lorraine, I believe a lot of these were from seed, were they not?
Oh yes, we planted many things for seed. When we were in the business, we had glass houses out here, homemade little things and such as that, and we planted many seeds.
Now, are any of these or many of them where you went out in the desert and actually got the plant itself? No, that didn't happen.
That's a no-no, you know.
Even then, huh?
Oh yes, way back when, that's a no-no. If you get caught, it's bad.
Okay.
So, but you could get some seeds if you happen to be at the right plant at the right time. You take a few seeds. You don't have to take them all. It doesn't take, most little pods have a lot of seeds in them, maybe 50, 100, depending on the size of the seeds and all.
Now, I've noticed you talk about that. In this yard that I've been here, of course, since I was a little kid, you get a lot of dove and quail and stuff like in this yard, and I imagine they're going after these wild seeds.
They eat them, but they can't digest them. You go right on through.
Do they?
Yes. So there's no waste there. It's in fact they got their fertilizer going out with the seeds. So if it's the right spot at the right time with Mother Nature and her watering and such, so the plant will grow. It's just a fantastic thing.
Now, some of the plants, you say the plants will grow because you have species here that I recognize as, from the Mojave Desert around this area, the Joshua tree, the yucca, barrel cactus and stuff, but you also have some exotics here.
Well, we imported and exported for the years that we were in the business, and that was really exciting. We have received plants from Australia and New Zealand and Japan, and we also shipped just about all over the world. The only place I guess we missed was Russia, and we couldn't figure out how we could do it because there's different ways of doing things, we couldn't ship in, let's say,
well, Russia at that time was under communism. Would have been difficult to do any kind of business.
So we didn't bother with that, but we heard from different places, and they couldn't receive plants either. However, if you learn that, well, if I ship it from point A to point B, and they're kind enough to ship it over to where we want it in point C, it works real well. So we did some of that. Nothing large, everything has to be small, but it worked. I mean, it's a wonderful thing to see people in different countries that love the plants just as well as you do, and yet they can't get them. Politics, which is a terrible thing for lots
also,
of
I
ways.
think style matters. I know this cactus here with the yellow, for years you were the only person I knew that had one of these. I remember it. But now it's a fairly popular cactus.
Yes, well, each one of those pods has, I'd say, probably 100 to 150 seeds in each one. Now, the number of pods on there, look how many seeds you get just at one time.
There could be 1,000 seeds.
Yes. Yeah. And if you got even 50%, which you're bound to get more, you've got a lot of plants. So this is what has happened.
Now, another one I know here is this other one here. I don't even know what it is, but I know that it's not from around here. What's the story on that?
That is called an Xeriscaping, and they grow, believe it or not, in 14,000 foot in the Andes Mountains, South America.
Now, you've got that one to grow here, but apparently, I think one time you were telling me that not every cactus will grow everywhere.
That's true. Now, this one has a lot of hair, is what you can see. And it grows hair for why? Well, because it grows so high in the mountains, it's close to the sun. When it's close to the sun, if it doesn't have some protection of some sort, it sunburns. So it grew hair. Now, we have this in various plants in various places. The little spines, some are very delicate and some are very tough and strong because they need protection from the weather. Too nasty, and they want to be careful how they grow. Yeah, take care of themselves.
Now, not everything you have here is a cactus. Of course, you got the venerable greasewood bush here.
Oh, they came up after they, when they cleared the property, of course, they cut all the roots and everything was gone, and they come up. In our backyard, we have some probably 14, 15 feet tall, which is nothing unusual. They've never been watered from us, just whatever water we've had, and are still over the years, but they grow like bombs, slow and pretty. I love them when they flower, and when it rains, the smell is so beautiful.
Yes, yes.
They're just terrific.
It's the smell of rain to me.
Yes, it is.
Now, Lorraine, you talk about water, how these came up, and of course the greasewood is a very drought tolerant. And one of the things they talk about now is this xeriscaping, and people are trying to get away from lawns and plants that use a lot of water. But I think I remember you telling me that some of these you still have to water, although maybe not as much as a lawn or something.
There isn't anything that I know of, and I don't know if anybody else does either, that doesn't need water at some time or other, or doesn't make water. There are little animals that make water from the food that they eat
Right.
and stuff like that, all right? But that's water, all right? So everything has to have a certain amount of water. And here, this year again, I've lost plants because I didn't water very much, because you're not supposed to, all right? And they absorb a lot of moisture, and slow but sure, if they don't get the rain and that, they do use that. Now, this big one back here, this should be a lot taller, and it was, but it's used its moisture inside, so it's shrunk down, all right? People say, well, how does that happen? Well, this is Mother Nature again. She said, this is what you have to do to survive. And then, too, a lot of plants, like we've had this unusual rain right here, all right? And a lot of these will start to set seed, and the blossoms will come out, and then if everything works right with the bees and the bugs and such as that, they get pollinated, and the seeds will arrive eventually, and it starts all over again.
So it seems like one of the ways, Lorraine, that by having a garden like this and learning an actual plant, spending literally years, you can say, I remember this, was in bloom, but the seeds didn't make it, and maybe the rodents ate this one this year or not that year. So you actually not only learn your garden, but you actually learn the desert as a whole, because you understand the individual plant.
That's very true. Very true.
So it's actually an ongoing lesson.
Oh, you never learn it all. Nobody ever will, because things change. It's just like anything else in this world. Everything changes, slow but sure. Say, well, now it used to be blah blah blah, and anymore it's not like that. Okay, and it's yes, you're right. It's constant.
Constant. And you learn how a plant goes through a drought, or you water a plant next to it and it sprouts up, and you say, well, that's how far its root system has gotten, and all kinds of stuff you can learn about the desert in general by having a garden like this.
Another thing about our weather, we can have a plant here, here, and here, okay? Along comes our nasty wind, we'll say, in cold weather. Oh, this one did fine. This one looks terrible. This one's growing great. What happened? Well, we have this wind coming, and it came right through here and didn't touch the sides as drastic. So this one froze and these grow. This works all over.
So that's what I think they call nowadays a microclimate.
Yeah.
So you actually learn that you might have like a cactus, two cactuses in different parts of the yard. Mm-hmm. One does good or is damaged by a certain weather condition, and another one is okay because of the microclimate that it's in.
Yeah, it works that way, and it's a mystery, because when we had the glass houses, and you got the glass on the outside, and you got all these plants in a row here, and what happened to that? What happened to this? There's one right here, just beautiful. Well, you find out what happened. Eventually, somebody said, well, you know about the weather. No, what about the weather? And then they tell you about the weather, and so then you keep your eyes open for the weather next time when this happens, it's cold or too hot and stuff. And Oh yeah, there went that one, and now I know why.
And that's something a lot of people don't realize, that some of
No.
these deserts, like here, we actually get snow once in a while, and of course
Uh-huh.
freezing temperatures. And people kind of associate cactus with hot,
Right.
desert, dry. But really, some of these deserts are cold, and some of these cactus can handle it, and some cannot.
Yes, that's true. We have some right back here that, well, years and years ago, we were down in Mexico and we brought back a little piece about 6 inches tall and planted it as an experiment because where we were at was very summery area. And we figured, well, put it there and see what happens. Well, over the years, it has continued to grow and have more stems coming up, which we call pups to start with. And it looks very unusual, like, oh boy, it's all dying. Well, it does die over a period of time, but it can't stand our cold weather when we have our cold weather.
And you've got it protected in this cove from wind, and of
Uh-huh.
course the sun, in the winter sun, will keep it warm. And I can actually see that a piece of that got above the
Oh yeah.
the roof. It looks like it got damaged.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's another microclimate issue that,
Yeah.
and you knew enough. You chose that place for that cactus
To see what happens.
to see what happened.
Then we found out what happened.
And you
What-
found out.
and we leave it there because we like it and it's the
Yeah.
only one we have.
Yeah.
And we have cut off pieces 4 foot long, and it has a core that is hard like hardwood. Just
A core or an outside like a saguaro?
No, not like the sticks with the saguaro. This is solid.
Solid in the middle.
Solid, absolutely. You really have to have a good saw to cut it. And if you go over there and feel it or hit it, you find out how hard it is. It's unbelievable. But it's just one solid hunk in the middle there.
Huh.
And it's very interesting. Now you see there's three new ones, 3, 4. Oh, good Lord. I can't even count anymore. There's 4 there. They've come up just since about the last 2 years. They grow very fast.
That's interesting you say it's hard in the middle, because I've seen barrel cactus broken open and they have no structure in them at all. They're just a bunch of mush,
That's right. Everything.
And yet it's similar. I mean, it's a taller cactus, of course, but how different they are.
Yes. These are dry inside, so to speak, compared to your barrel cactus. Just yeah, they have the mush.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. This thing of people here. Well, you get out in the desert and you have to get thirsty. You can just go cut one of those. Well, first thing you're gonna have to have something to cut with. The stickers there, they hang out there quite a bit, so you can't use exactly a pocket knife to cut it. And if you do succeed to cut it, you're not going to have a nice drink of water, people. That's horrible stuff. It's bitter, especially if hasn't had a lot of water, where it's really super mushy inside.
Right.
You know,
I've experienced that.
So right, people
Bighorn sheep, after a month or so after a rain,
they
they'll start breaking open barrel cactus. But prior to that, the cactuses are too dry for them to bother with.
That's right. And they know, they've
Yeah.
learned and passed the word along,
Yeah.
and on and on it goes. It's an amazing thing. But people don't, because you just kill them, and that's not right.
Yeah.
So just save yourself the trouble too. It's not worth it.